Hello everyone. In this session, we will actually create one application. It's not going to be very hard application. It's going to be very basic and very simple. Okay. We already had gone through the Windows Form architecture, or you can say Windows Form, the necessary things that we want to cover up. We had covered up, right? In the previous session, also we had seen how to create dynamic controls at runtime, right? So in this session, let's create that application, which is going to be very simple one, and we'll create actually login application. This is how any programming language or any GUI application is going to be started, right? So let's create that login application, but without database. Okay, so let's create that. So I have my form 1 here. So instead of now creating dynamic controls, I will drag and drop some controls in my form 1 so that you can understand with the drag and drop system too. Okay, so now what I need for login application, I need two text box for username and password. But before that, I need two labels to say it is username and password. Okay, so let me say this is my label 1 and this is going to be label 2. Then I need text boxes. So I will import the two text boxes here. This is my text box and this is my text box 2. One more thing I need is one button. So this is my button. So now please change some of the properties of this is label 1. Okay, so so now this is my label 1 and label 1 is going to be username. So here in the property panel, just change the property text. Okay, text property, please change from label 1 to user name, and same as for label 2, it is going to be password. Okay, so username, password, and then this button one is also going to be same. So I will say login. Okay, so username, password, and login. Now please change the name property of these label, text boxes, and login, so that we can understand that this label is for name and this label is for password. This text box, because you cannot understand which text box is for which text box. Right now it is very small application, two controls are there, so you can understand that yes, this is text box 1 for username and text box 2 for password. But in general, when you work with projects, there may be hundreds of text boxes and you will not understand which text box is for which text box. So please give some name to these controls. So for label, I will give some name. Okay, so instead of label 1, I will say LBL username. Same as for my password, instead of label 2, I will say LBL password. Okay, for text boxes, I will say text box, I will say TXT user name, and same as for text box 2, I will say TXT password. Okay, for login, I will say BTN login. Okay, so everything has been ready over here. So get back, get to your code part and let's change some of the code. So initially I don't need this form load event and all. So what I'm gonna do, I will delete it. I will delete this entry, and as I told you, when I delete it, it will definitely give you one error, which is the form 1, right? Load event. So I go to here and I will select this, delete it. So now there will be no problem. Okay, so in the code part, how exactly we're gonna code? So when I click on this login button, I need to check that my username and password are right or not, right? That's the thing we want, right? So when the username and password is right, message box will showed up and it will say successfully login. If it is not, then it will say invalid details. So let's create that thing. So I need to generate the button event, click event, right? So I will double click on this login button to create that event. Otherwise also you can go to the event here in the properties, and you can go to the click event. See, you can see here click event, and you can double click also here. So double click and it will generate the button login click event. Okay, so code is going to be very simple. So what I'm gonna do, I will first of all I need to give something called as string, because I need to save the text of this text box and this text box into some string, right? So I will say string user and sorry, txt username dot text. So whatever the the text box username is having, the text is going to be stored in string, in this string user. Okay, that's simple code, you understand it. String pass equals to txt password dot text. Okay, so right now username and password is going to be stored in user and password. Okay, and then it's pretty simple, just give the if condition. Inside that I'll say user equals to, if it is the text box 1 or the text box username have the text something like admin, and I'll say pass equals to password is, let's say, admin. If this is the condition, if this condition gets true, I need to call my message box and show that my my login is successfully. So successfully login. Otherwise, in else condition, what I need to give, I will say simply message box dot show, and I'll say invalid details. This is the simplest example of Windows Form. This is nothing doing, okay, just checking that they are the static username and password. So if my text box username is having the admin text and my text password is having the admin password, then my login is successfully, otherwise the invalid details. So let's just check this out if it is working or not. So what I'm gonna do, I'll simply click here, start, and I will say username is admin and password is admin. When I click login, so they are same and they are matching our if condition, so therefore successfully login, right? So let's say if my password is somehow wrong here, I'll say 123, and when I log in, invalid details. So this application is perfectly working. Okay, it's in the working condition. So this is how you can work with this the Windows Form for simple login. Okay, now there is one problem. The problem is whenever I run this, you see my password is showing, it's completely raw password. Anyone can see this, so I need to reconfigure this, right? So what I'm gonna do, I go to my text box password field, and I will go to the properties, and properties, I need to change one properties, and that property name is uh, password care. I need to change that property, password care. You need to find it, and there we go. This is the property that I need to change, password care. And you put any characters here, whatever the characters you provide, it will show up inside that form. So instead of row characters, it will show you that that character that you provide over here. So I am providing asterisk sign. Once you do that, and when you run your application, you will see username admin, and my password, it's not going to be show row this time, it will show you the asterisk sign. See here. Okay, so now if you see login, it is say successfully login. Okay, this is how you can configure it. Now this is the first requirement that we had seen. Okay, now the second requirement is, let's say this is my first requirement, and now I need one, there is one more requirement, and that requirement is, if I press F5, you see here, I need to work with my mouse a lot. See, for text box, and then I get back to my this text box, and then I need to press login. So instead of that, what I need, let's say I want to use my keyboard only. So when I press enter and then press enter and then press enter, it get back from text box 1, from text box 2, and then get back to the get to the login button. It automatically goes to the next control when I hit the enter button. So I need that kind of functionality. So how exactly I can do this? You see what kind of thing we can do. So right now the control is inside this text box, and you can see the blue line. You can see this blue line. This blue line is basically coming from text box dot focus method. This is basically focus method. So right now the cursor is blinking in this text box, and that's why the method name is text box dot focus. This blue line is for text box dot focus. See, I can show you this, that if you want to change this text box focus method to text box 2, initially it is, right now it is inside the text box 1, right? So let's say instead of text box 1 that cursor is blinking, I want to blink that cursor in my text box 2. So how exactly I can do this dot active control, and I will say text box password. This is my text box 2, right? And then I'll simply say text password dot focus method. So initially it was, the cursor is blinking on the first text box. Now if you run this application, now when you run this application, you will see cursor is blinking in the second text box. I didn't go in the second text box. This is, I didn't go. See, one more time. F5. See here, it's automatically in the text box 2, not in the text box 1. Okay, so this is how text box focus method is going to work here. So I need, so I just remove this code just for the explanation I had given you. I remove this code. So what exactly I need now? I need that whenever I press enter, this control gets to this text box, and when I hit again enter, the control gets to the login, so that I easily log in with the help of keyboard only, not with the mouse. So I need text box key down event, right? Because what I'm doing exactly, it's I'm coming to down part, right? Down part I'm coming. So whenever I hit enter, it gets down. So I need text box key down event to do this. Okay, so let's do this. So what I need, key down event. So I go to my design part, and I will select the first text box, and I will generate the text box key down event. Okay, so go to your event here, and please select text box key down event. You need to find it here in the key part. There is this key down event. Okay, why we are using key down? Because I am entering, and whenever I hit enter, the control gets to the down part, and that's why the key down. Let's generate this event. Okay, so key down is being generated. Now just write the code. I'm writing the code for the mapping for the enter key. Okay, that's the code of enter key I'm writing. If e, that is my key event argus variable, e dot key code, this is for using the keyboard, all the keys of keyboard key code equals to, if it is the thing, keys dot enter. All keys are here. You can see all the keyboard keys are over here. You can use any key. Right now I'm using enter. So if I'm hitting enter key here, the code is for if I'm hitting enter keys, then I need to do something. So e dot key code equals to keys dot enter. If I'm pressing enter keys, then what I need to change the focus. So right now initially the focus inside is focus in text box 1. Okay, I need to change the focus into text box 2, and I'm writing the event in text box 1 key down event, right? That's the thing I'm doing. So this code, what basically this code is working, this code is basically, why this is text box 2 is coming. Let me see what kind of code I had written. Okay, so what exactly um, is working is basically what I need. So whenever I hit enter from this text box, whenever I hit enter from this text box, the control goes to this text box, right? So right now we are in this event, text box down event, right? So I need that control, or the focus method goes to the text box 2, right? So here in this part, in this if condition, what I need to write, I need to write that go to text box 2, that is your text box password dot focus. Right now what I need is, I need to give the control from text box 1 to text box 2. See here, when I run this, let me just change something. Actually it saved somewhere, so let me give my focus method to text box 1. That way you can understand it easy way. So active control equals to text box username, and I will say text box username dot focus. Okay, so when I run this, you see the control goes to text box 1. Now I'm not going to go to text box 2 with my mouse. See here, I'm pressing enter button. So when I hit enter, see the control goes to the text box 2. Now you understand it. See here, once again I'm in text box 1, and now I'm not using my mouse. I'm hitting my enter button from my keyboard. Enter, it goes to the next text box. Now what exactly I need? I need the text box 2 key down event, and I will say then go to the login button now. So I will simply write that button dot focus. Okay, so this control from text box 2, it goes to the login, okay, button. So let's create that. So I will go to my design part, and I will create the event for my text box 2. What event I need? I need key down event. So text box password, and I will say key down event. It's generated, right? Now inside this, the same code will come. So I will copy this and I will simply paste it, and instead of text box password, I need to pass it to my button. So I'll simply say button login dot focus. Okay, so now you will see I will not use any mouse, I'll simply use my keyboard. I'm starting this GUI application, and you will see I will not use my mouse. So my mouse is going to be settled here. Okay, I'm not using it. I will simply hit enter, 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 enter. There you go. Everything is going to be with the help of enter key you are working, right? So let's see this, that the things are working with exact content or not. So I am writing admin, and I'm pressing enter button, admin, enter button, enter button, successfully login. There you go. You are not using your mouse. I haven't touched my mouse. See, it is here only. Okay, so this is how you can work with key mapping and stuff like that. Okay, so I hope that this thing is going to be cleared with you. And what will be the next requirement? The next requirement is, let's say instead of message box, I want to show that message that successfully login and successfully login and invalid details not in message box, but instead I want to provide it in the label. So what you're gonna do, you go to your code form1.cs. Instead of writing in the message box, what you're gonna do, you will drag and drop the label here first. So I'll go to the application, and I will drag one label here. See here, this label here, this label is going to be, it will show you the details that it is successfully login or the invalid details are there. So instead of message box, we are providing that message in my label.text. So change some of the properties, like give the label name here, give a label name. So label name is I'll say LBL name. Okay, LBL message. Let's say LBL message, and delete the text property of label1. So delete it. Okay, so now you go to your form1.cs, and instead of writing the message box.show, I will simply say label lbl message dot text equals to successfully login. You understand this? I hope. Okay, then instead of message box, I will pass my label message, and I will say invalid details. Okay, so you can see instead of message box, now that pop-up thing, it is going to be text in the form inside. Okay, here admin enter, admin enter. See, successfully login inside the message box itself. It is not going in the pop-up thing. Okay, now let's say some other requirement is, let's say I want to change the color of the label whenever the things get right and things get wrong. So for successfully login, I want that message gets printed in green color, and for invalid details, I want that label gets changed to red color to give the invalid details. Okay, so how exactly you can do? It's pretty simple. What do you need to do? LBL message dot for color. Okay, so this is for color, and it is coming from system dot drawing. It's coming from, I'm sorry, it's coming from system dot drawing dot color. And what color you need? You need green color. That will say yes, successfully login, you can go ahead. And then the same thing, the exact same thing I need for my else condition. It means invalid details, and I need a red color, right? So I'll pass red. There you go. And then you hit enter. You will see admin, and then admin, and hit enter. Successfully login in green color, right? See, if I give the password like 1234 and I give login, you will see invalid details in red color. That's pretty simple, right? Okay, so this is how you can work with your labels. Now let's say there is one more requirement. What is the requirement? Is instead of successfully login and each and something like that, what I need to do, I need to say that this control, whenever I hit login button, I'm staying in that form only. Now the requirement is I go to the next form. Okay, instead of that form only, I want to get to the next form. So this is form 1. Let's change the name of this form 1. So my form 1, instead of form 1, I'll say login form. And inside, so whenever I run this, and whenever I this click login button, I need another form which says welcome aboard or welcome to the new form, like that. Okay, so for that I need to create another form, right? So go to the solution explorer and right click in your project, test demo. Please keep that in mind, that inside the project you want to create, not in the solution. Okay, so add and Windows form. So this form is going to be, let's say I want to say as account. Okay, account. So this is my account, and I'll change the property for account, and I'll say profile. Let's say this is my profile account. Okay, so this is profile account. So I have two forms. One is login form, and another one is account, or you can say profile account. And profile account, let's say my message is something like this. So my label is there, and I will say change the properties, something like that. Welcome aboard. Okay, so welcome aboard. This is my message. Let's change the font somehow to so that it's get a little bit, yeah. So this is welcome aboard. So now what I need, whenever I run form 1, whenever I run this form 1, when I click on the login button, this form gets opened that it says welcome aboard. Okay, this is the thing that we want for this requirement. Okay, so instead of label message box and all, I need to delete this, or let's say I want to comment it. Okay, I will comment it and I will write another code. So to move your data or to move from one form to another form, you can simply go with the help of constructor. Okay, so I will say using, and resources is form2. You already have your form. What is the form name? It's account, right? So I will say account a equals to new account, and this is my constructor, and I will simply say a dot show dialog. That's how the form is going to be showed up. That's my profile account is going to be showed up, right? That's pretty simple code. I hope you understand it. We are doing nothing. We are creating the instance of my this form account, and then I'm just calling the show dialog. It will show the controls, whatever the controls that form possess. So let's run this. So when I run this, I'm sorry. So when I run this admin and admin, and when I hit login, you will see that new form, that account form is going to become comes up. Login, and you see it says welcome aboard. So this is how you can work, with different other things. Okay, so let's close this, and let's say I have, okay, this is how you can. So let's say there is one more requirement, and that requirement is something like, when I run this admin and then admin, so when I hit this login button, basically, I need to remove this, this text and this text. I want to clear this, right? Because this is not a good idea. So how to remove this? Basically, you can use what I need to do after this if and else condition, because ultimately after all the conditions get met, I need to check this, right? So let me, just put my text box username dot text, and I'll simply say it's going to be null. Okay, it's going to be clear, or you can directly use clear method too, no problem. I'm just passing text and I'll say null. So this is null. So when I run this, you see admin and then admin, and when I say login detail, it's opened, and when I close this, you will see the details are going to be off. Okay, they are not showing you in the login form. I mean, this thing we can put anywhere. I mean, not anywhere, but you have to put it somewhere where you can clear the controls. That's the exact thing we want. You can clear your controls, or you can clear your the text from with the help of dot clear method, or you can provide this type of thing. Both ways are working in a very same way. So this is how you can work with. You had seen so many things in the login control, and you can work. You can improve that login application in your ways too. And I hope you understand it, the properties and the events and other stuffs. Thank you so much for listening to me.